Reality isn't created based on goals, vision, and your desires. The reality is created based on the self image you hold about yourself. And if your self image is weak, the reality will overpower you, dictate your life. But if your self image is strong, powerful, reality will bend in your favor and it will shift in your favor. The universe will rearrange everything in your favor. So today I will show you how to build a self-image so strong, so aligned that the world has no choice but to obey it. And we are going to go deeper into it so that by the end of this video, you have complete clarity on how to build a self image so powerful that everything shifts. The first thing you have to know is that the conflict that we experience on the outside, it is not the outside, it is you. So this is why I said it's a you versus you. It's not you versus the world, it is you versus you, because you are the anchor, you are the magnet that dictate the world, what you see, how you see it, and how the world responds to you. It is all you. And this is why it is important to build a self image that is so coherent and that is so aligned, that is so anchored in your truth, in your light, in your power, that the world can recognize it and it cannot manipulate it. It cannot change it because it is built in a strong self image. This is the foundation to you building higher frequency, you recognizing and building your own deep frequency that I call Genesis, that I made a video about. This is the foundation of creating that frequency that you own, that you are embodying. So the first thing is you have to understand the illusions that you are operating in the world, because the world is full of illusions, and the illusions are created based on the subconscious beliefs we are holding on, the beliefs that we bought into. And those beliefs are creating an illusion. It is not one dimensional world. It is not one layer. It is not just what you see. It shifts based on what you believe. And I'll give you an example of that. When I was operating in negative frequency, when I was going through a lot of challenges, internal challenges, when I was experiencing a lot of pain within me, I was consistently bumping into people who were negative, who were abusive, who were rude, who were mean. And I used to go on trains in London, and I would consistently find these people who were just verbally abusing and they were just negative. I wasn't doing anything. I was just standing or I was just sitting and I was just experiencing these people in my reality. I would constantly see whether I go to shops, whether I would go to restaurants, cafes, I would find people who were mean. I would find people who were rude because I was operating in that energy, but I did not know at that point it was me. I was just thinking people were mean, people were rude, people are horrible, the world is negative. That's how I was thinking. And what it was manifesting the same experiences over and over. When I shifted into the new identity, the new self image, the world is completely different. I go to exact same train, I go to shops, I go to restaurants, and everywhere the experiences are different than what I experienced before. That is a confirmation that the world shifts based on the frequency we're embodying, the self image we are holding. That's what I mean when I say the world changes, the world rearranges itself, and we are operating in an illusion created by our own frequency, created by our own self image, created by our own subconscious. So, this is what we are dealing with when we are unconscious, when we are unaware, when we are operating from pain and operating from negativity. That's the first thing we have to understand. The second thing is, I want to talk to you about in terms of the illusion, is the society, is the childhood conditioning. It's what people say, it's what media says, because everything we see, we hear, we consume, we are reprogramming our mind consistently every single day, every single moment. So, every single moment, we are creating our reality by consuming what we are consuming, hearing what we are hearing, speaking what we are speaking. So, all of that senses are receiving signals, receiving information, and it is taking into your subconscious. And we only take in what we internally believe to be true. So there is an internal belief, there's an internal anchor that is filtering the world according to what we believe. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that if someone internally believe the world is a horrible place and they believe that people are terrible and horrible, the information that they are receiving on the outside is confirming what their internal belief is. So, their internal belief, the anchor that they are operating with, is that the world is horrible. Therefore, the external world will validate the internal anchor. That's why they will experience more people who are mean, who are terrible, who are rude, who are abusive, who are not nice. They will receive that from the outside. The media they hear, the news they hear, everything is terrible. So that's what their subconscious will filter to receive, and that's what they will observe in external reality. Because the truth is, there's millions and billions of things are happening consistently, and our mind is not able to take everything that is happening around us, in our environment, in outside of our environment, what we are hearing. So we will only be able to take in what we internally believe, the belief system that we are holding, the anchor that we are holding, that is programmed in. So this is why the mind filters things. So internally, when we are negative, it filters things to confirm those negative beliefs. But if we are internally positive, it filters things to get things that are positive. So that's what we are consistently doing through our senses, through what we hear, through what we see, through what we experience. We are constantly filtering. This is why society, the conditioning, the environment, the media is constantly reprogramming our beliefs and making our beliefs stronger and stronger. So if someone lived in a lot of negativity, a lot of challenges, and they think negatively, they will find it harder to see the light in things. They would find it very, very difficult. Doesn't matter what you say, they will always find a problem in every solution. They will always find the darkness in every light. So, this is why every single person experiences the world very differently based on their internal beliefs that they are holding on. These are the illusions because they are not the truth, because everyone's truth is different. Everyone's world is different. And that is conditioned based on what we've conditioned with through the world that we lived in, right? So that something is an illusion. The other things are that not enough, not worthy, not confident. All of that are illusions, again, based on the experiences we had. So, if we were bullied growing up, if we were laughed at growing up, we would feel that we are not enough or our self esteem will be low. So we will not be confident enough to believe in ourselves. So we will consistently doubt. And that's how I was brought up, because I came from an environment that was very negative. There were a lot of volatile, hostile things and events that I've seen. So I've experienced constantly these beliefs where people were consistently laughing at me, bullying me, calling me names. Even me being pretty became the huge issue, and that's how I started shaming myself for being pretty, for looking good. I never liked myself because I felt by being pretty is a curse rather than a gift. So people around me shamed me for being pretty, for shamed me for being beautiful. So I never acknowledged that I am beautiful. I always felt this shame within me that why I am pretty. Because of that, I'm experiencing so many challenges. Because of that, people are not liking me. So I started shaming myself. I never saw myself as pretty. I always felt ugly in some ways. I had that self image of ugliness. So I constantly found fault in me. This is not good enough. This is not good enough. This is not perfect. That is not perfect. So I was highly critical and I constantly found fault in me. So realize that that was a broken self image. That wasn't empowered self image. That was a broken self image. And I was operating from that broken self image. So when I was operating from that broken self image, I was attracting people to confirm those broken ideas, broken belief, lower self esteem by laughing at me, by shaming me, by calling me names, by being mean to me. So they were confirming, reaffirming my broken self image. So this is how we are constantly doubting or creating these doubts or lower self esteem and feeling unworthy, feeling not enough, and our reality confirming those beliefs by making us feel not enough, not worthy, not good enough. And that is all within. If you hold a broken self image about yourself, you will attract people who will confirm that broken self image. They will call you name. They will be mean to you. They will cause you to make you feel smaller and smaller just to confirm that broken self image. So really understand whatever is external is also internal. That's something really important. Everything that you are seeing in your life, it is created through your own self image. This is why everything that is external is internal, because ultimately we are the one who are co-creating our experiences in our life. So this is why I call it illusion. It's not true, because it can be bended, it can be changed, it can be seen it completely differently. And the illusion, we are the one who are creating those illusions by buying into things that are creating our beliefs, that is conditioning our subconscious in a certain way for us to live in that reality. Finally, I want to talk to you about the American dream. That is the system that was created back in 1800, where the leaders did not wanted every single human being being to know how powerful they are, what they have, the consciousness, the awareness, what that can allow them to have. It was a very strategic way of those leaders in 1800s that they created this idea of going to school, going to college, studying, then finding a job and having that 9 to 5 system and working and getting married, getting a house, having a family, and then retiring at 60, 65, and then getting a pension, and that's it. That was the system. That was the American dream that was created, and it was sold as American dream. It was marketed as American dream because the leaders at the time wanted every single human being to live in that conditioning. They wanted humanity to be conditioned in that way so that they cannot think beyond that. They cannot go beyond that. They can be in that box of limitation, that consciousness that this is the life. And a lot of people dreamt of that American dream. This is the life. That's when I made it. So this was created intentionally from leaders for humanity to remain smaller, remain and follow the system so that not everyone is becoming an entrepreneur, not everyone is thinking higher, not everyone is evolving and using their higher consciousness. So they wanted people to stay in that herd mentality where everyone following the same pattern, same system, same ideas. That's how they controlled the world. That's how they had the power, because they wanted people to follow the system. And that system was an illusion. American dream is an illusion. Because the truth be told, you have the power to have whatever you desire. You can be the highly successful, highly actualized, enlightened being if you choose to. That is your divine truth. And the leaders, the elites did not wanted people to know that. Every belief we hold, we are creating a box for ourselves, and it is up to us how bigger the box is going to be. So belief is that filter that create that reality that we operate in. That reality can be very limited, very narrow, very contracting, or that reality can be expansive based on the beliefs we are holding on. And through our belief, we create our self-image, how we see ourselves, how we perceive ourselves is through our belief system. And a lot of those beliefs are coming from the societal conditioning, the media, the childhood conditioning. All of those create our box, and we live in that box based on what we choose to believe. And a lot of belief we hold, they are unconscious or subconscious. So this is why it is important to become aware, to expand ourselves, to change our self-image so that we live in the world that is in alignment with our soul, and we create our world, like I said earlier. So what you need to know is, if you don't choose who you are, the world will choose who you are. And that is the deep reason why people carry broken self-image, why people experience the life they experience, because they are allowing others to choose who they are. When we are operating from pain, trauma, challenge, or conditioning that is not serving us, we are very much relying on others to tell us who we are, because we do not feel that self-worth, that enoughness, that love for us. So this is why we seek from others to tell us who we are. And that's where we create this broken image, because the world will mirror how we feel about ourselves. This is powerful stuff. So the world will mirror how we feel about ourselves, because they are reading our own energy. They are mirroring how we feel about ourselves, and they get this energetic signals to treat us how we are treating ourselves. So if we are not treating ourselves well, if we don't love ourselves, if we don't value ourselves, if we do not feel worthy within ourselves, then the world will mirror that energy. So they will mistreat us, they will not value us, they will not love us, they will abandon us, they will reject us, they will cause us pain. So, do you see how it is all coming from us? It is all coming from the self image, how we see ourselves, how we perceive ourselves. Because ultimately, it's not what you portray on the outside, it is what you feel in the inside. That's what they are reading. They are not reading beautiful hair or beautiful makeup or beautiful clothes. They are reading the energy, how you treat yourself, because everyone is capable of mirroring what we feel. And that becomes the reflection of what we receive from others. That's what we receive from others, because that's what we are projecting on others. So, this is why it is important to create a self image that is so powerful that you emit a frequency and energy of love, emit the frequency of worthiness, emit the frequency of value and enoughness and goodness and beauty and wealth and abundance. This is why it is important, because the world is just a mirror. It is reflecting everything that we are projecting. This is why we need to change the projection, that is a self image that we see within ourselves. And like I was just talking about, it's not about the external image, it's not about the looks. And I'm telling you this because I know a lot of women who do really take care of themselves a lot. They really take care of themselves. They look after themselves. They do the work. They take care of their body. They take care of their looks, and they look beautiful from the outside. They look beautiful and perfect. But from the inside, they are broken. They feel unworthy. They don't feel valued. So they attract men who are not valuing them. Doesn't matter how pretty they are. They can be the most prettiest women in the world, but they are still being mistreated by their partners because they do not value themselves, because they are operating from broken self-image, the way they see themselves within themselves. So it is a subconscious look. So subconsciously, the way they see themselves as not pretty, not enough, not worthy. So that is the image they are operating within themselves. But on the outside, they look beautiful. From on the outside, they look pretty. But from the inside, the image they have created of themselves, they are not enough. And that's what gets projected in the partners that they choose. And those partners mistreat them, devalue them, not love them, abandon them, reject them. So you probably already know that, and you probably witnessed sometime a girl is not very, from the outside perspective, she's not looking from the standard of the outside world, how a pretty girl should be. So, and a guy is very good looking from an external perspective, how the world see. So we see that sometime a guy is with a girl who is normal. I mean, everyone is beautiful, but from the world's perspective, she's just normal looking. And sometimes we question why this guy is with this girl, because this girl knows her value. This girl is projecting an aura and energy that is like she is worthy, she is enough, she values herself, she loves herself. So it doesn't matter how she looks externally. If she values, she loves, she is projecting this confidence, this ease, and this energy, this aura, the guy will be attracted. It doesn't matter how good looking he is, he will be attracted to this girl because she is confident in her own energy. This is what you need to know. This is why it is important, not the external, but the internal image that you have about yourself. And that image needs to be created in a way that is anchored in the higher truth. The higher truth of you is that you are loved, you are worthy, you are abundant, you are beautiful, you are this magnetic beautiful light from creator. The creator's light is operating within you, so you have to be beautiful. That beautiful light is emitting from you, but if you do not believe that to be true, that's when you block it. So the doubt is equal block. When we doubt ourselves, that blocks everything, because doubt creates this shaky foundation that I am not sure. I need somebody else to tell me who I am. I need somebody else to validate me. I need somebody else to call me beautiful. I need somebody else to make me feel enough. And that's when I feel enough. That is a shaky foundation. That is not a strong foundation to create a strong self image. So, this is why the doubt around yourself, around what you do, around who you are, will block you from attracting love, block you from having abundance and wealth and freedom and peace, because doubt is the biggest block that most people carry. So that's one thing that needs to be gone completely. So in order to create this strong self image that is so powerful, that you emit and create your own frequency, the Genesis frequency that I talked about in my earlier video that you can find. I will link it somewhere, that goes deeper into what is Genesis frequency. But in order to create that, the self image has to be stronger. And how do we create a self image that is very strong, that is anchored in our truth, our true self, our divine self? Is by having certainty. Certainty is the most foundational thing in order to create a powerful self image. Having a certainty and believing in everything that you do, you say, you become highly certain. And that creates a powerful self image. So, I talked about here bending reality. When we bend reality, when people say quantum leaping and bending reality, when we become highly certain, you collapse time. You collapse time, you collapse the reality, and you move faster towards your desires, because when you become certain, your frequency shifts powerfully. Your self image becomes stronger. So, in order to bend reality, the certainty is really, really important. The second part is having a courage. Courage is everything. Courage is as important as certainty, because certainty creates this intention, and intention creates that anchor, that I believe who I am. I believe in what I do. I have that inner knowing that I believe that to be truth. I don't rely on others. That is a certainty. Believing in your decisions. You are the powerful co creator. God has made you independently. When you were born all alone. You had the power to be self sufficient as you were born. You were born with this idea that you will be always provided for. When God made you, when you came to this earth, you came with that law that you will be provided for. That's the promise God has made you when you came to this earth. And that's the promise every living being have. Even animals, they will be always provided for. Even the birds, they will always be provided for. They don't go to work. They don't try harder to find food. They always find food. So every living being born on this planet with the law that they will always be provided for. So if you want to take inspiration, take it from birds, take it from animals who are walking around, who are not pets. They are always provided for, especially birds, because birds are quite free. They're always flying around. They don't have any space. They don't have home. They are just moving around places to places. No one specifically goes and feed birds. Not specifically. A lot of birds, they are just flying around. But they are always provided for. They are always being fed. Some ways they always find food to eat. And that is the promise divine made to every living being. So when you were born on this planet, you were born with that law, with that promise that you will be provided for. You are self sufficient, right? And you are not meant to rely on others. So the decision that you make, you must make it from certainty, with inner knowing that that is a right decision. And maybe the first time you may doubt after you make a decision and maybe something goes wrong and you say, I made a mistake, or I cannot make a decision, or I should have checked in with other people. Maybe the first time, maybe the second time, but by the third time, you would start relying on your judgment, your intuition. And even if things don't work out, that means it's always working out. Things that don't work out, they are working out in our favor, always, every single time. And that is the inner knowing, that is the belief that everything always working out even when it isn't working out, from external perspective, from 3D perspective. Even when it's not working out, it's still working out, right? That's the belief, that is the faith that we have to operate in, and that is the certainty. That is the certainty. And I always had this certainty. I initially, when I was younger, I had certainty. I was very confident in a lot of ways. I was very shy and introverted, but when I said something, I meant it. So I had a lot of certainty in what I said. As I grew up in my teenage years, when I got married at 16, my self-beliefs were crushed. My self-identity was crushed. And so that kind of really crushed me in my 20s, went through a lot. But ultimately, every time I made decision, because I went through so many things at such a young age, I had to make decision. At 19, I made a decision that I will run away from my in-laws. I made a decision with a lot of certainty. So by 20, I ran away. So from a very young age, because I was on my own, I had to start making decisions. So I never relied on other people. And my friends used to say, who met me afterwards, they were like, Sadaf never asks questions. She never asks. She makes big decisions, but she never asks. I never ask because I believe in my judgment. I believe in my inner knowing. I never ask people what to do. So I made very big decisions on my own because I had no choice. I had to make big decisions. So I always made really big decisions on my own. So I had a lot of certainty. I built a lot of certainty in myself, even though my self-image was broken through the people, what I was observing on the outside, through the dysfunction, through the trauma. My self-image was broken, but I still made decision from that broken self-image because I had no choice until I started healing myself, until I started coming back to myself, until I started building a self-esteem and confidence within myself as I did the deeper work. That's where the confidence built and the certainty became even stronger and stronger and stronger, with that inner knowing of what I do, what I say. I believe 100%. There's no doubt. I don't doubt it. I even make every single decision when it comes to my business with my inner knowing. I don't ask anyone. I make from intuition. I make from divine guidance. I make it, and there's no doubt. I take action based on what I feel intuitively, and I do that consistently. Everything that I've done so far in the work that I do, it's all intuitive. It's all that from that inner knowing, that certainty, this is the right thing. And I never counsel with anybody. Apart from my spiritual team, apart from divine, I don't counsel anyone in the 3D. So that's how I function, and my certainty became stronger and stronger. So that is important. And with certainty, we have courage to take the action, take the step, take that bold move that probably everyone is saying that is the wrong move. Taking that bold move. When I quit my corporate career, that was a bold move. Getting paid six figures and leaving six figure without knowing where the next dollar or pound will come from, I took a very bold move and without any plan in terms of I never ran a business, I never knew how to do things, and my YouTube was not where it is today. So I had 2000 something subscriber when I left my corporate job. So no plan, no backup plan when I quit. So that was a bold move that required a lot of courage. And living in London on my own. So London is very, I mean, I don't like the word expensive. Nothing is expensive, but London is, every price is on a higher end. Everything is on a higher end. So imagine that in London, without a job, without a backup plan, living and trusting and having that faith that I am always provided for. And guess what? I was. This is a law. This is why it's so important to take a courageous step. Because when you do take a courageous step, you will know that you are provided for. That law plays so beautifully. 3D will say it's a bad move. They will say it's stupid, it's silly. But when you have the inner knowing, when you know, if you really want to test, I'm always provided for. If you really want to test that law, you really want to walk that path, then that would require a courageous step for you. Because when I quit, not knowing where the money will come from, I don't know, I have no idea. Then I learned, I really tested, that faith came into play strongly because I was really in that faith that I'm always provided for. And guess what? I was every single time. I always paid my bills. I always had food on the table. I always paid everything that I needed. The money came through every single time without a fail. This is why it is important to take courageous step, because that's when you are able to see the truth that you are always provided for. That's when you are able to see. And when you see it, when you experience it, you can grow. You can take bolder and bolder step. And you can move in that direction with that inner knowing that you are always provided for. And the third step is when we are creating a stronger self-image, when we are bending reality, quantum leaping, all of those words that you hear, it's the conviction. Conviction in what you're doing, conviction in your inner self, conviction in your next move, conviction in your ideas, conviction in your judgment of what would be the best thing for you. That is the conviction. And when you launch something, when you start a new project, when you start a new job, when you start a business with that conviction that it will be successful, there is no doubt. There is no doubt, because doubt blocks everything. So no doubt, and having that deep conviction, it will work out. And it's not about just saying I have no doubt. It's actually deeply believing, releasing everything that creating a doubt, that releasing everything that is creating fears, because doubt creates fear. So there's a connection between doubt and fear, that when we doubting, we are creating fear. We are perpetuating that fear within ourselves, and more fear means more fear is being created. So really understand that. And this video is getting longer, but I want you to really understand these deep, because this work is powerful and it is for your transformational, because you are the magnet. You are the one who attracts everything. When you operate from that energy, that understanding, you are the magnet who attracts everything. Then it is so important to create a self-image that is so grounded and powerful in that inner knowing, in that certainty, in that courage, in that conviction. And this is why it is a foundational work in order to shift your identity, shift your life, and manifest everything you ever desired. It's all come from the self-image. It's all come from that. This is why this video is getting slightly longer. But if you want to change your life, you know that this is the work that needs to happen. So that's why the conviction is so important. Conviction makes things happen for you if you believe that to be true for you. So when you launch a business, do not launch a business as, I don't know how to do a business. You launch a business with that image, that belief that I'm the person who always launches successful business. When you do it from that conviction, that space, there's no doubt that your business will become successful. When I launched my business, I launched it with that intention. My work, my program, everything that I do, it is top notch. It is the best of the best in my identity, in my belief. It's not judgment on other people. It is my own belief in my own work and in my own connection with divine. I believe that to be true. And it's not comparing myself to other people, but really knowing who I am, really knowing, understanding the work that I do, really believing in the work that I do. This is why I have strong conviction in my work, and it is transformative because I believe that to be. And because I believe that to be, it is transformative for people I work with. It changes life because I believe that to be true. 100%, I have no doubt. There's no doubt. I believe my work is powerful. And it's not coming from an ego. It's coming from that truth, that self-belief, that truth that this is the work that changes life. And there's a confusion. And I really want to talk about the ego because the world has really messed people identity and the way we operate. Because when somebody praises themselves, we call them arrogant, right? When somebody believe in themselves, we call it ego. And when somebody put themselves down and they say they kind of play very small and down, we call them humble. Right? So do you see how these words can create this distortion? This is why it's scary to praise ourselves, right? We don't feel good because we are like, people will judge us. People will say, oh, I am arrogant, so I'm not going to praise myself. I'm not going to say nice things about me because people will judge me. So we are breaking our self-image because we have to always play down. We have to play small. So we can play small, and that's what I want you to know. You can play small if you want to in front of other, to play humble, but the inner identity, the inner self-image has to be like, I am most powerful, I am the best, I am enough, I am worthy, I am valued, I am beautiful. That's the inner self-image. That's where the foundation is. So if you want to play it down in front of people, you can, but belief has to be, I am the best. I do the best work. And it's not from an ego, it is from the self-belief. So really understand this. If someone is operating from a wounded ego, they will only praise themselves consistently and they will make themselves better than everyone. That's a difference. So if someone says, I am better than this person, I'm better than that person, I am better than everyone, I am better, blah, 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 then they're operating from a wounded ego. They don't believe worthy, they are insecure, and they're not operating from that worthiness. But when someone say, I am the best, in a sense that of myself, that what I have been, this is the best version of me, that is not an ego, that is a self-belief. So it's okay to praise yourself. It is okay to praise yourself if you have been that person who always condemned yourself, right? So you have to know. And I know that I triggered some of my friends in the past because when I started shifting my identities, I started operating from a higher level. I started believing in that I am the best healer from that place. And I know it triggered some of my friends in the past because they were like, who do you think you are? and they got upset about the fact that I voiced that. But I came from a very damaged place. So in order for me to shift into that, I had to operate from that level to embody the stronger self image, that I had to believe that to be true. It's really important to have a context. So if you have been self critical, if you have been always putting yourself down and dimming yourself, then it is powerful for you to own it and speak your truth, and say that you are this, and you are the best, and you are this best healer, best author, best speaker. Say it, really affirm it. It's okay to do it, because society might judge you and people might judge you, but people who are truly yours, they will be applauding you. They will be, yes, yes, you are the best. You are the best author. You are the best speaker. You are the best leader, right? But people who are operating from damaged self worth or damaged ego or wounded ego, then they will feel threatened. They will feel triggered. They will feel like, who do you think you are? Do you think you are the best? And they will start calling you names. That's okay. We don't want to be part of that circle. We want to be part of circle who understand our depths, because when I say that, I'm anchoring the identity. So that's why I say it, so that when I do the work, it is done from a highest and the best place, more powerful place. When I'm operating from that level. So this is why it is important to anchor that. Then finally, in order to embody the stronger, powerful self image, you must be regulated in your body. What I mean is your nervous system. Your nervous system needs to feel safe. And this is why it is need to be regulated. When the nervous system is regulated, it opens itself to have more. When it is dysregulated, it contracts itself to be smaller. So the nervous system is really important part of you operating on a higher level, becoming successful, becoming abundant, receiving love. You must have the regulated nervous system in order to open your capacity to receive more. And this is why it is so important. I've done few videos on nervous system. Check it out in depth if you want to know more. But regulated nervous system is extremely important. And when we do that, when we do all of those things, that's when we start operating from higher frequency. That's when we have what we desire. That's when we create that Genesis frequency, the frequency that is coming from us. We are the one who's owning that frequency. We are emitting from ourselves, and that's when we create this expanded self version who is speaking on stage with ease, who is a best-selling author, who is beautiful, amazing business owner, who is creating powerful business that is bringing a lot of wealth and abundance and impacting the world in a powerful way. That's how we do it. That's the self image we need to create in order to have and operate from that highest frequency. So if this video resonated with you and it helped you in a smallest way, then I would say that if you want to embody your higher self and shift your frequency and healed all the pattern, all the past, to embody your higher self fully, to own it, to have 2026 in the highest and the best, to have the financial freedom, to have the abundance, to have the emotional freedom, to have the peace. If you are ready for that, then I invite you to click the link below to apply for my mentoring. Other than that, like this video if you like this video, and subscribe to my channel. And may the light in me reaches the light in you.